The boards that are most effective in overseeing sustainability issues are the ones that have found a way to evolve their responsibilities in overseeing associated risks from being reactive and perhaps compliance-driven to one that is more proactive and better placed into the core responsibilities of the board. These boards are integrating sustainability oversight where material by embedding it into strategic oversight, risk management, and performance evaluation frameworks. The way in which a board oversees these issues, whether through a single committee, across committees, or at the board level, ultimately should be determined by the board and should be structured for what is best for them. There's no right answer. Effective boards are also continuing to improve their fluency on these topics, taking advantage of various forms of education to better inform decisions across operations, finance, and innovation. This effective oversight helps to position companies to navigate regulatory shifts, investor expectations, and emerging risks while also driving value creation. What's really important for boards to keep in mind is that ultimately a company's decision to focus on sustainability risk or opportunity should not be driven by external pressures, but really comes down to a company's determination of whether or not the topic is of material risk and/or opportunity for the company, and how that risk or opportunity ties to long-term value. Anti-ESG pressures have been common for several years, but the past year especially saw a notable uptick in attention on this pushback. The upswing in broader stakeholder attention really started during the summer of 2024, where we started to see companies begin to revise ESG-related initiatives, and we started to see perhaps more vocalization of pressures from certain stakeholders. By the fall of 2024, we saw several companies revise or repeal diversity-related commitments. In 2025, we saw an executive order that further accelerated company pullback on DEI-related initiatives, and we saw a ripple effect of diversity and ESG-related disclosures being removed from company websites and various reporting channels. Over the summer and fall of 2025, companies' sustainability reports have begun to be published, and while some companies have revised certain sections, core messaging around risk management and value creation really remains prominent in these reports. I think we will continue to see company sustainability strategies evolve in the coming months. As companies come to the end of their mid-decade targets, we will continue to see further revisions in initiatives and strategies. Some companies may be more focused and limited in the scope of their net set of goals. Others may remain consistent with rolling current targets forward for another cycle. Regardless, companies will need to review their initiatives and disclosures from a 360-degree angle to pressure test the decision-making and rationale. Ultimately, and regardless of company decisions, boards should be asking, does the action we are taking manage risk and tie back to company strategy and business value? Overall, in the past year, we saw a decline in the volume of environmental shareholder proposals, particularly climate, nature, and packaging-related proposals that went to vote in the Russell 3000. In addition, we saw support levels for climate-related proposals to notably decline when compared to 2024, bringing average support for these proposals closer to the support levels of packaging and nature-related issues. The change in support levels was really driven by shifts in some of the proxy advisors' approaches to assessing the climate-related topics, as opposed to changes in company disclosures, which had already been rather comprehensive. On social-focused proposals, we saw support levels to be fairly consistent year over year. In fact, average support on diversity shareholder proposals, despite the substantive attention on pushback this year, was rather consistent with 2024. We believe the relative consistency in support as well as the decline in certain proposals is really primarily driven by several influencing factors. The companies being targeted by proponents already had developed strong disclosures that provided adequate context to how a company was or was not addressing an issue that was or was not material. Further, institutional investor sentiment on topics did not materially shift from the previous year and were rather consistent with how they were assessing the proposals. While institutional investors' proxy voting guidelines continue to be updated each year, disclosures on stewardship efforts appear less transparent than they previously were, and many institutions are leaving ESG-related consortiums or initiatives. I'd like to level set that institutional investors are not abandoning sustainability. There's certainly a degree of recalibration on how they approach these issues, and they're continuing to revise their approach in a more strategic manner, but they are not abandoning. While some high-attention moves, like exiting ESG consortiums or removing disclosures on support for initiatives, suggest a pullback, the underlying commitment to sustainability remains strong amongst most institutional investors. In fact, overall, the maturation of investor sentiment and stewardship on sustainability topics has really taken place over several years, and we continue to see the sustainability landscape shifting from broad, sometimes symbolic commitments to strategic, data-driven, and risk-aligned action that is more appreciative of company-specific nuances and considerations. Boards and executives should recognize this evolution and should remain proactive in articulating their approach to identifying, assessing, and managing relevant risks. Absent strategic disclosures, companies face risk of losing control of their own narrative and becoming vulnerable to scrutiny.